America Meditating Radio Show. We collect wisdom, inspire each other, and empower hearts on demand 24/7. Hi everyone, I'm Sister Jenna, host of the syndicated America Meditating Radio. We bridge divides, we seek deeper meaning, and we answer life's most compelling questions from experts around the world. Because in a world of uncertainty and division within and out, we will need answers right here, right now. Join me and guests on America Meditating Radio, a show for everyone to learn more about this amazing thing called life.
The Azar Foundation for Children of the World is an organization aimed to support women and children in need across the globe. We believe in empowering lives, strengthening minds, and providing programs that enrich health and education. The Azar Foundation was founded in 2003 and has been serving the world ever since. Visit us at our website at www.azarforchildren.org. That's www.azar4children.org to find out more information about our endeavors and join our mailing list. Remember, the smile and the cry of a child doesn't have any language. The Azar Foundation.
Do you like to meditate? Have you tried to meditate? Have you struggled with meditation? Why don't you visit one of the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center? Visit brahmakumaris.org.
Blaylock Dialysis Center is a convenient state-of-the-art dialysis center in the Houston area, run by Dr. Panakin Patel. Relax in a comfortable environment while receiving quality care. Serving adults 18 to geriatrics, we are here to help you. Call 713-463-6611 for more information, or visit us at our website at www.blaylockdialysiscenter.com. Blaylock Dialysis Center, where helping you get well is our priority.
Hello everyone, this is Sister Jenna from the America Meditating Radio, and I'm excited to introduce to you Meditate the Vote. It's going to be a national campaign, and what we're asking for all of you to join us with is to raise the bar of conversation. Try to see in what way we can change our interpretation about who we are, what we are, and perhaps the direction in which we want this country to go in. Regardless of whoever becomes the next president in 2017, we are still responsible for the way that we want to move our lives. So could you join me and an alliance of friends around the country to meditate the vote? Go to americameditating.org, press on Events, Meditate the Vote, and you'll be able to get a whole bunch of information. So join us, because I, Sister Jenna, meditate the vote. Hello, everyone, and welcome to America Meditating. I am your host, Sister Jenna, and yes, we must meditate the vote. And not only here, we've also gotten some messages from Great Britain where they were saying, I wish that we were meditating the vote before Brexit. And I can understand that we are definitely witnessing a time of great opportunity. Systems are changing, or at least because we are changing and our level of internal thinking and consciousness is changing. I think since the acceleration of technology, the way that we think, see ourselves, and see the world has massively changed in the last 10 years, in particular thanks to Steve Jobs. But what's been happening is there's a big separation going on with the soul, the spirit, and the human and the physical world around us. And yet at the same token, there is a kind of an awakening or an awareness that we are all connected and we all come from the same seed, the same source, and that any injustice on one person halfway across the planet is an injustice on us. Dr. Martin Luther King expounded on that when he was receiving his Nobel Peace Prize in the 60s. So what I'm trying to share is that we are at a point of great internal soul-checking. And as you know, there were recent bombings in Saudi Arabia. They claim it was failed. Istanbul, Dakar. That is signaling to us that there's something happening at a level of consciousness. There is something happening in the spirit. I wrote a piece today, and please look out for it on Huffington Post. Fear, the real terrorist. It's no longer about Islamic fundamentalism or about a religion or about a group that you might call ISIS or ISIL or Taliban or whatever they're called anymore. But I think all of us are responsible for the condition that the world is in. And I think if we begin to look at the world and look at our own lives from the awareness of all, that we have all played a part in this. Every time you've had a moment of fear in your own life, every time you've had a moment of inadequacy or worthlessness, you're in a fear-based state, and that fear-based state is transmitting an energy of consciousness, a vibration of consciousness, which goes into the ethers, and that's hitting the mind or the consciousness of another person. And so the terrorism that I think when we look at our policies and look at the way that we're governing countries and communities and cities and our own families and lives, I'm really deeply inviting everyone to begin to look at our own fear factor and to what extent has this energy of fear become way too the norm in our way of thinking and being as people, where fear is now the way that we sell commercials or the way that we sell movies, where fear is a manipulation of the way that we distribute our information so that you can get attention. I went for my morning walk today, and I just so love doing this show with you all. I love it because I'm not doing America Meditating Radio anymore. At the beginning, maybe, I wouldn't say at the beginning, I would say maybe the first year. At the beginning, it was an intention about Sister Gita's healing through her cancer and having that conversation to share how through meditation she was able to really get her energy back. And then a year later, I was thinking, it would be so great if, the world came to know about America Meditating. And then 2 years later, we're like, okay, that's fine. But now, everybody, I'm like, I'm doing this show for my own healing. I really am. Each guest that we have on the show is teaching me something, and I'm glad that you are listening in and finding support and guidance and direction. I so appreciate that, and I think that it speaks volumes as to where I think we all need to go. I don't need a congregation anymore of 10,000 people, 20, 40, 50,000 people sitting in front of me to prove to the world that I've arrived or I'm good or I'm accepted. I just need to be true with where I'm at with you. That's my congregation. And so I hope I'm speaking to the choir this morning. Stay tuned. We're going to have the Honorable Mark W. Erwin on the air with us, and we're going to be having a heart-to-heart conversation, especially I think he's got a new book out, so we're going to be talking about that. You are listening to America Meditating Radio.
Hi, this is Reverend Sylvia Sumter with Unity of Washington, D.C., and I'm here just to tell you how much I love listening to America Meditating with Sister Jenna. It's a fabulous show, fabulous guests, wonderful readings with Sister Gita. It's enough to feed your soul. It's a delight to the spirit. Hope you'll tune in.
Point of focus. Taking just a minute. Gently, I bring my energy away from the external. I bring all my attention up through my body to a point in the middle of my forehead, just above and behind the eyes, towards a single point of focus inside. I now look through my eyes as if they are windows. I am a still point of awareness, looking through the eyes to the world out there. I am the still point, silent and powerful.
Just close my eyes again. Climbed aboard the Dreamweaver train. Trying to take away my worries of today and leave tomorrow behind.
Welcome back. That was Gary White, Dreamweaver, an old-time favorite and one of our very dear friends. And hope you enjoyed the meditation by Sister Jenna on point of focus and how important it is for us now to be more focused about ourselves and our own lives. The American Meditating Radio Show is very proud to welcome Mark W. Erwin. Mark is the President of Erwin Capital, Inc., board member of the Council of American Ambassadors and a former United States ambassador. Mark is also a philanthropist, an ordained lay minister, and the recipient of many honors, including an Honorary Doctorate in Humane Letters, several Honorary Knighthoods, and the Order of the Longleaf Pine. Very busy ambassador. He has served innumerable civic, charitable, cultural, and educational organizations. And throughout his journey, Mark has mentored hundreds of people, both young and old, and has collected life-changing lessons that brought him from a 16-year-old in a jail cell, to a multimillionaire before he was 40. He has authored several books, including his new release entitled The Powers, 12 Principles to Transform Your Life from Ordinary to Extraordinary. Today we're very, very honored to welcome Mark Erwin to the air. Hello, Mark.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Good morning to you, too. You've been busy since you were 16.
I sure have.
You sure have. It's amazing, the journey of life, isn't it? It's like you sometimes find that your greatest learning experiences are always etched in when you look back and see how far you've journeyed. Isn't that amazing? And yet we're constantly reminded, be present. It's such a intricate mystery, wouldn't you say?
We have to live in the present, but and it is an interesting dichotomy that we live in the present, but we have to have a vision for the future.
Right, that too, right. Mark, in your memoir, An Unlikely Journey, you share your story of overcoming early disaster, to a life filled with adventure and success. Tell our listeners a little bit about your story and how this led you to turn your life around to later serve the Clinton administration in 2 presidentially appointed positions and with, all the accomplishments. Give us a little bit of an update on Mark.
Well, as you pointed out, I had kind of a rough beginning, but it was interesting in that unlike most people who go from rags to riches and tell their story of success, I went from riches to rags. I was very wealthy in the last generation before me, and unfortunately my mother and the rest of her family went through all the money, and by the time I was a teenager, I was resentful and bitter and rebellious and just didn't think life was being very fair to me. And so at 16, I was a juvenile delinquent and found myself sitting in jail waiting for sentencing, and that's where I met the Lord, my Lord. I reached out to him, our Lord, right.
Our Lord.
I reached out to him, and I asked him to forgive me. I told him I was ashamed of myself, and I asked him to take my hand and lead me to a better life. And something came over me, and I knew that he was there with me. It was something inexplicable, but he was there with me. And sure enough, within a week, I went before the judge, and the judge said, I'm going to sentence you to 4 years in jail until you're 21 years old, but I'm going to give you a different choice. I'm going to allow you to go in the military for the same 4 years if you think you can get your life back together. And I looked up at the sky and thanked our Lord and thanked the judge and went in the military. And the military did a great job of knocking the chip off my shoulder and teaching me about discipline and self-discipline and self-respect. And that was the foundation for me to turn my life around. And at age 18, I set a vision for myself, and that was to restore my family's wealth and status in the community or prestige. And then I set a goal that I would be a millionaire before I was 40. And I had no education. I had 3 more years to serve in the military.
Right.
But the chip was gone, and I was on the right path. And so through the powers that I talk about in my new book, I was able to achieve success far beyond any expectation that I might have had. And it was a much more significant success because it started out related to money and position, but it ended up related to faith and family and mentors and friends and service and all of those great things that make us better human beings.
All because of a vision. And look at where it has taken you. Now you have another book, The Powers, 12 Principles to Transform Your Life from Ordinary to Extraordinary. Is it just your whole life that inspired you to write this book, or was there something specific that brought these words or these thoughts to paper that's now becoming a bestseller?
My granddaughter started me on this path about 4 years ago. She said, "Granddaddy, I want you to write a book for me," because I had written 4 other books at the time, and she wanted me to write one for her. And I started thinking about it, and I realized that the one thing that I needed to do was to create a legacy that would pass on to future generations, not just in my family, but in all families. And I had been following the works of many other inspirational writers for many years, and so I decided to take on the project of paying it forward and leaving something as a legacy to those people that will never know me, that if they read it and if they pay attention, it might change their life. I'll tell you a quick interesting story, if I may. Yesterday, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and yesterday President Obama and Hillary Clinton came to town, and I was able to spend a few minutes with them before they spoke to a large crowd. I gave them each a copy of this book, and Hillary and Barack Obama were both happy to get it. And I said, now, read the subtitle, 12 Principles to Transform Your Life from Ordinary to Extraordinary. I said, I still think there's time for you two. And they, I have that kind of relationship, fortunately. And they laughed, and Barack Obama said, this is the book I've been looking for all my life. Isn't that a great moment?
I love that story. Oh, that's beautiful, priceless. That's priceless. So what's in the book? Tell me, what are some of the steps that you are sharing with us that we could make our lives a lot more extraordinary? I'm in the backyard of the White House, and I still haven't met Obama, so I need to find out what you're doing so I can meet with him and teach him how to meditate so that he could feel extraordinary. So what's in the book?
I believe he's given you the National Service Award for Community Service. Which I was very pleased to see. That's terrific. Mm-hmm. I've been reading up on you, and I'm very impressed with what you do. Meditating is so important, and it can change the world. It does change the world. But the powers that I talk about, the first one is the power of you, and it's understanding who you are. And most people don't take a moment of their time to try to understand themselves and what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. And so I start out trying to make people understand that in order to be whatever it is you want to be, you first must know you. You must know your strengths, your weaknesses, the areas you need to improve, the areas that are just natural to you that you can capitalize on with almost no effort. And then I move into the power of the brain. And the brain, as you know, is just an incredible organ. It's the most complex thing on the face of the earth. And there's no question it was created by a God, our God, because it could not have been created by anything other than an incredible, omnipotent, omniscient force of the universe. So understanding that even the average person has just incredible resource sitting on their shoulders encourages people to try to develop that resource more and more. And nobody has ever reached the full potential of the brain. So, but then the most important thing once you get control of yourself and your self-discipline and so on is to move to a vision for your future. What do you want to become? And meditation is the key to that. It's finding that silent place where you can talk to yourself in depth without any distractions and start thinking about who do I want to be? What do I want to be? What do I want to look like 20, 30, 40 years from now? And then moving from there, once you have found a vision, and you clearly found your vision a long time ago, and you've been on track and you're doing great work as a result of it. But then you have to move to the power of goals, and goals are the shorter-term step to achieving your vision. And the goals can be like my first one was, which was a 22-year goal, which I was able to achieve in 18 years, and that was to become a millionaire before I was 40. But in order to achieve that goal, I had to go through many, many other smaller steps, like getting an education and learning how to not spend the money that I brought in order to have a brighter future, and all those kinds of things that self-discipline brings you. One of my favorite powers is the power of faith. And I think it's absolutely necessary that we believe in a power greater than us. And as you know, that power greater than us goes by 1,000 names around the world. We call it God, but it doesn't matter what that power is. The fact of the matter is we are not alone in this world. And we have a power that that is incredible compared to our own little minute power.
Right. Can I ask you a question? Were there ever
Sure.
any moments when it seemed that you were wavering? You know, like you set your goals, you hold your vision, and there are always going to be obstacles when you're trying to break through an older level of consciousness. When you're trying to expand your capacity, you have to be tested. But when you're young, you know, in your 20s or in your 30s, even when you're getting in your 40s, you know, there are moments when, were there ever any moments for you when you felt like, I don't know what to do next? And if so, what did you do to move beyond that? Was it just through faith, or was it through something else or something in addition to that?
Well, there weren't hundreds of times. There were probably thousands of times that I failed at things I attempted, many, many times where I was discouraged and in despair and just didn't understand what was happening, why it was happening to me. That still happens. I'm 72 years old and still happens to this day. But in the power of persistence, I talk about failure. And the fact is that you can't be persistent unless you've experienced failure. And because persistence is coming back after failure. It's not giving up. It's not quitting. And I can't tell you how many times that I failed on my way to success. Little failures, big failures, lots of different things that happened that I could have sat there and kicked myself and gotten into a rut. But with the determination and persistence to move forward and forgive myself, but then work at making myself somewhat better, hopefully, I've been able to overcome those failures. And like I say, even to this day, I have doubts, and I have to go into my own meditation place, get alone, and start working on myself again and reaching out to our higher power, and trying to get the strength again to get back up. So it's incredibly important to understand failure.
Inspiring, Mark. Very, very inspiring. I remembered Oprah Winfrey was addressing Stanford business students. I believe it was School of Business or Media. I can't remember. And one of the things that she said in that address was failure basically is a sign or a signal reminding you that you might have just missed something. And so to kind of recognize what you might have missed, then pick that up, you know, and then keep going. And I really love that. We're this unfolding work in progress towards extraordinary. And so I think that when we can keep pushing forward, especially through those walls that we bump into, nobody feels the satisfaction of that better than us, you know, when you're really pushing through those walls and then you go, wow, I can't believe that happened or I went through that. Mark, what would be the main takeaway that you would love for the readers to have from this latest book that you've done, The Powers?
One of the greatest powers is the power of mentors and friends. You are who you associate with, and so easy to try to associate with people you feel superior to, and that's never a good thing, especially if you feel superior to them in the field of your ethics and so on. But become friends and develop as mentors people who you admire and respect. They don't have to be further up the success ladder than you. That's not the point. They just need to have the characteristics that you admire and respect. And one of the things I like to say is that we can't pick our family, but we sure get a chance to pick our friends. So be careful about who you choose as friends. And I think that's an incredible power. And then the power of service. In order to achieve any great success in life, you have to be willing to serve others. You have to be willing to share your wealth, your benefits that you've been able to achieve, your wisdom with others. Because that gets you outside of yourself. And so many people get so caught up in themselves, they don't care about others. When that happens, you're doomed to failure, whether you become an outward failure or an inward failure. You're doomed to failure when you just get too caught up with yourself.
I like that. I like that very much. I love that very much. Mark, looking back at life, what has been your main life lesson that you would like to leave our up-and-coming millennials?
I guess the main thing that I would say is that it's all up to you. It doesn't matter where you came from, what your skin color is, whether you're straight or gay, whether you're tall or short, whether you're brilliant or average in intelligence. It's all up to you. If you decide that you're going to become something and you set your vision and work on your goals, you will become something. One of the things I do in the book is I talk about people who were average or even below average intelligence level, people who have severe handicap, and yet they've been able to go on and achieve great success in their field. There's a piano player, Tony DeBlois, who is autistic and blind from birth, and he knows 10,000 songs by heart, and he plays 21 musical instruments. And he's an incredible human being and one of the dearest people I've ever met, one of my absolute best friends. And so he proves the point that you don't have to be extraordinary to become extraordinary.
I like that. Gives us hope. I love that. It's really a matter of the spirit, isn't it, Mark? Like, you've got to be spirited. I came across a quote by Brian Bacon from Oxford Leadership. You should definitely give him a visit. Brilliant thinker in organizational leadership. And there was something on his Twitter handle that spoke something about, like, you can find inspired leaders. You can find somebody who is skilled, but not inspired. And eventually they're just going to drain your company. But find somebody who is inspired and educate them how to be skilled, and you're going to get an expanded company. The company is going to thrive. So basically what I'm picking up from you, it's like, how do you, like, inspiring a spirit, inspiring a person to believe in themselves is what's needed to really become extraordinary. Because some of the most educated, most fortunate individuals are just not inspired. They're just going day by day. What would you say might be that little spark that could inspire somebody who really wants to get inspired so that they could do something more with their lives? Any thoughts on that?
I love that thought. That's a wonderful thought, and I'm going to spend some more time on that thought.
Yeah.
I've written down this fellow Brian Bacon's name, and I'm going to research it. But you're exactly right. It doesn't take, inspiration is a gift, just like all the other gifts that we're given. And finding a way to get yourself inspired, and some people are inspired by fear. Other people, fear of failure. Other people are inspired by dreams of greatness in whatever it is. It doesn't have to do with money. It can do with talent, anything else. But that is so right. I just think that's so wonderful that it is the inspiration that turns an ordinary person to an extraordinary person.
Exactly. I think it's so important. Mark, I want to tell you, I just enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on the air. And is there a website that our listeners can contact you or get a copy of the book if they have any questions they could write to you?
Absolutely. My website is www.markerwin, MARKERWIN.net. To get the book, it's in Barnes & Noble. You can go online to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and just type in the Powers, Mark Erwin. It'll take you right to the book. And I'd love to hear from your listeners. And this has just been a wonderful pleasure, Sister Jenna, being with you this morning. Thank you so much.
Same here, Mark. All the very best. Take good care.
You too.
So I hope all of you are listening to our conversation this morning with Mark. You can even be born under privileged backgrounds and still mess up. But in your messing up, there might be a moment, a crack, a window of inspiration where you feel that, come on, God, there's got to be more to me than this. And to set a goal and set a vision. I remember my very dear friend Portia Davidson said, you might have goals and they change, but vision will never change. It's a part of you. It's in you. And so to hold that vision, my friends, so strongly that you really feel like it's really moving you towards your final destination, because vision it's important. We've got to live. I mean, energy has to move, right? And we are here as energy. We are souls, and we're playing our parts out in this world drama called life. And in doing so, we are building our capacity, and we are expanding our capacity. So hope you've enjoyed our conversation with Mark W. Erwin. Please go to markerwin.net for more information. And thank you for joining us on the air today. Remember, no one can take away your happiness unless you give them permission. And we are here to what? To what? To love each other the same. Look out for my latest article on fear, the real terrorist, and let me know what you think and share it. Please remember to meditate the vote. Just go to meditatethevote.com. There's a lot going on, but only because time is signaling us. Do something good. Do something. Don't waste your time. Take care, my friends. Here's Sunrise by Bliss.